All right. Well, this took a while to get set up, but welcome everybody to my tier list of Final Fantasy 1 to 10. Now, a couple of things before we get started. Number one, I will not be touching 10-2 or any of the other sequels because number one, I've only ever played 10-2. Number two, I won't be touching 13 or 12 or 11 since I have not, 13 and 12 I've been playing off stream. Specifically 13 I'm the closest to getting done. And I may or may not, depending on how I feel, throw in 14 and 15 because I have played both of those games, of course. But yeah, let's get started with this. Why don't we? Where do I start with this? Let's start with 1. Let's just start at the beginning. So what do I think of 1? You know what? Yeah, I think 1 belongs in at least A tier. B tier. Mainly because, at first, when I first played the game, I was very, very upset about it and everything like that. And eventually, when I release all those videos, you will notice that I kind of wanted it to be done really quick. And so I kind of rushed my way through it. But the more I think back on it, the more I fondly think of the game. So that's why I'm putting it right now at B tier. Originally I was thinking of C tier, but the more that I think about it and the fact that they made grinding a little bit easier for other players, I can go a little bit more easier on it than when I originally played it. So there you go. That's my ranking of 1. Now, 2. 2 has always been a controversial one in the series. I know that for a fact. Just from the discourse around it. But 2 I'm going to give it a high C. And the reason why I say a high C is I think that they really this is where they really started to go into the whole story and narrative focus with Final Fantasy. I think that really started with 2 because 1 didn't really have that much of a focus on story. Things just kind of happened when you went to certain towns and things like that, and some things like that do happen in 2 as well. But 2, they really, they had more of a focus on the storyline there. Even if it was just their first attempt at it, I appreciate the attempt nonetheless. Although I will say that the gameplay is very rough. I will agree with everybody on that. The gameplay is really rough here. So that's where it gets right now as a C. Now, Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy 3 was actually fucking great. The more that I think about it, the more I like 3. I actually want to put it above 1. Final Fantasy 3 was the introduction of the job system and everything like that, which was really interesting to try out and learn. And the storyline was very interesting in that game. I really like how even though we went back to the Warriors of Light again, we had a little bit more of an interesting spin on things there. So yeah, I will say that I did enjoy 3 more than I did 1 or 2. Now, Final Fantasy 4. Final Fantasy 4 is where things start to really change in this series. 4 is a high A, in my opinion. Why only a high A? Well, I feel like it's only the ending that I say is really where things kind of fell off for me a little bit. with the whole Zeromus thing and that whole boss fight and the whole grinding to get that boss fight defeated, it kind of fell off a little bit for me for that. Otherwise, the story of Cecil and everybody in that fucking game was just phenomenal, and I really loved it. So that's why Final Fantasy IV gets an A. Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy V also gets an A, I'd say. Like, right below it, though. This is where they returned back to the job system. But now with the ATB system involved, and, with, like, the ability to have certain abilities from different jobs that you master move on to be available to be equipped to other jobs, which was really interesting. I believe this is also where Blue Mage was introduced, which I actually enjoyed Blue Mage in 5, which is very interesting because usually I don't like Blue Mage as a job. But yeah, I found 5 to be very fun. I loved the atmosphere and the how do I put it? The fucking mood the game set out with. It felt like a fun adventure the whole way through, I loved the different, like, back and forth banter between the party members and everything like that. 5 gets an A from me. 6 is a fucking S. Of course it's gonna be our first one in S. Now, I will say this. 6 is still, like, in my top 3 Final Fantasy games, at least for right now, until I finish 16, until I know for certain whether or not it's going in the top 5. 16, that's for sure. I don't know where in the top 5, but it will go in the top 5. But 6, just like the whole story of Terra and Kefka as a villain was just phenomenal, and like just the gameplay itself was a lot more fun in this time around, and the whole like having our heroes lose, that was such a fucking huge thing. I remember when I was playing that, having them lose like that, and everything involved in that, it was just phenomenal. The gameplay was a lot more fun that time around. I loved the Esper system. The Esper system, I think, is better than 7's system, which we'll get to 7 in a minute. But overall, yeah, 6 is an S. Absolutely, it's an S. 7. 7 has warmed up to me a little bit. That's why it's going in. It's my number 4 Final Fantasy game. Originally, I did, if you don't know, and you haven't been watching the channel for that long, 7, I feel, is very overrated. I don't think it's this gigantic masterpiece that everybody says it is. I think it's just okay. I do have fonder memories now of it after, going through the second playthrough of it and experiencing it again. And, like, understanding more some of the nuances involving Cloud's memories. And, of course, everybody knows the fucking party from this game. Cloud, Sephiroth, everything involving that whole thing. Although to me, Sephiroth isn't really that interesting of a villain compared to the rest of the franchise. He is a very intimidating villain, very on the level of Kefka in that kind of way. But, I don't know, Kefka just had an energy that Sephiroth never has. So, that's where it's going right now. Alright. Final Fantasy VIII. What did I think of 8? 8 is going the lowest on this fucking list that it can. I'm sorry. I do not have fond memories of 8, and my second playthrough did not change my fucking mind at all. Although I appreciate it more. Like, should I put it in C or D? You know what? We'll have it below 2. Um, I think that the gameplay, after I understood it, made a lot more sense. I still don't like the fucking draw system. I think it's probably one of the worst systems that they have in Final Fantasy. Ever. Squall, I liked Squall in Kingdom Hearts. I like him in Kingdom Hearts. I don't like him that much here. He just feels kind of meh to me. Everybody in the cast is not really that memorable, in my opinion. However, there are some great moments in this game that I do enjoy. So it's going to have to go in C for now. And the ending. The ending did not make any fucking sense. And it doesn't even seem like the creators have any idea what the hell that even meant. So, because even they're saying, like, well, we're thinking about if we do a 8 remake, we'll have to do that, it was all a dream theory. You don't even have confidence in your own fucking ending. It's like... so weird to me. Anyways, 9. The S. Do we even have to fucking explain 9? I guess we do. My number 2 Final Fantasy game. 9 is fucking beautiful. Its theme is so good. And the whole game through, like, the narrative is phenomenal. Every single character feels like they were there for a reason. And honestly, it's one of those games that, like, I look at it fondly and I'll never not look at it fondly. Because it just does what it has to do so fucking well. Like, the combat is interesting and fun. Even if it is just kind of, like, a little bit better than, like, 7 and 8's combat, and just kind of builds on those. It's still fucking good, and I still, to this day, love Final Fantasy IX. Now, Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X was the last one that we played. And I'd say it goes in the latter half of the A tier. Final Fantasy X was my second Final Fantasy game, by the way, if you didn't know that already. And it was fucking phenomenal. I really loved the love story between Tidus and Yuna, and I feel like that and its themes over, like, religion and, you know, being kind of, how do I put it? Giving this false hope to people and how that's a horrible thing. And Auron, of course, my name is Auron Duske. Come on. Like, if you don't understand that I'm a fan of Auron, come the fuck on. Really? The only problem that I have with the game, and that's the reason why it's lower than 4, 5, and 7, 6, and 9, is because of the ending. And the goddamn grueling ending of grinding and all that shit. And I'm not the big fan of the sphere grid. I really am not a fan of the sphere grid. I hate that thing. I really hate that thing. But overall, that being said, I still say it's a great game, and that's why I put it in 10. 10 and A. Now, do I want to go into 14 and 15? Yeah, I guess I can do that. Why not? 14's S, and at the top of the list. Do I even have to explain why? 14, like, just everything about it works so well, in my opinion. There are parts of the game where it doesn't work as well, sure, but, like, there are so many parts where they get it right. Shadowbringers is phenomenal. Like, Heaven's War is phenomenal. Endwalker's phenomenal. Even parts of Stormblood are pretty damn fucking good. And even Realm Reborn. Like, just overall an amazing game. And the party members, Alphino, Alisaie, Y'shtola, Urianger, everybody in that fucking game, all the different arcs that they go through and all the different character developments that you see slowly over time, it just makes the game so much more better. And like you can see that bleed into 16 that they really took from that really damn well. So overall, at all the way at the fucking top of S. 14. 15 was my very first Final Fantasy game. I got it for Christmas that year that it came out. And I have played through almost all the DLCs. The only one that I haven't played through is the Arden DLC. But I played through the whole Royal Edition when that came out, and I upgraded to that. And overall, I'd say it's a... it's B. It's B. I do think that it's a good game overall once you have everything into context. I just think it was severely unfinished. And had it not been rushed out the door, or, you know, like if it had maintained its original vision as Versus 13, I think it would have been possibly even higher than that. But unfortunately, none of those things are a reality, so I gotta put it at B right now. I love Noctis and his whole bro mentality with all of his friends. Like, Arden was a great villain who had a really great twist at the end. Yeah, 15 is phenomenal, but I cannot put it higher than a B. I cannot. The only reason why it's lower than Final Fantasy 1... Actually, you know what? Let me put it above Final Fantasy 1, because the story is a lot better than 1's. And I do think that it is better than 1 in a way. So yeah, that's what I have right now. This is currently my my tier list for all of Final Fantasy right now. The main lines, at least. 11, I've not played it. I don't know if I ever will play. 12, I'm really early on in the game of 12. And 13, I'm on the latter half of that, but I haven't beaten it yet. So, and I probably never will, because I'm fucking stuck in chapter 11. God damn it, fucking boss. God. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in to this tier list. And yeah, I will see you all for Yakuza Kiwami and Final. So I hope you continue to enjoy the Final Fantasy 16 playthrough as well, and enjoy the Yakuza Kiwami when we start that tomorrow. I know I said I was going to record this yesterday, but I just was really tired after yesterday's stream, so I just never got around to it. But yeah. Peace out.